Today's R.I.S.E presentation has been brought to you by the following. ISBA. This application offers the perspective of a mentor and a process for bringing your dream business concept into your future reality. ISBA, the startup business application. And by Innovate Huntsville. Also supported by Thank you for supporting R.I.S.E. Hello, I'm Vicki Morris and welcome to R.I.S.E Goes Virtual. This is our second time doing R.I.S.E virtually and I'm kind of excited about it. I think this may be something that we'll continue to do as we are sheltering in place. So as you know, we are in the midst of our COVID-19 precautions and we're embracing the opportunity to do something new. So we want to welcome everyone here today and we want to know who's here. Drop us a line in the comments and let us know your company, your name, and maybe a line or two about the things that you do. We'd love to be able to connect with one another, and there will be lots of people on here that you can connect with and are looking at the things that you're posting that can share things about your business that may be able to help them. So we're excited about the opportunity to do this. Last time we did this, we had about 900 people that we reached. We had over 700 views and we had a little over 60 engagements. So I think this is something that we'll continue to do. People seem to like it and we enjoy bringing this to you. We do want to say again thank you to our sponsors, ISBA, Innovate Huntsville, the P.I.L.L Method, and Huntsville Hub. Thank you for doing what you do for R.I.S.E. We simply could not do the things that we do without your support. So if you're here, thanks again for joining us this morning. Hope you have your cup of coffee. If you don't have a beautiful coffee mug, we've got some right here for R.I.S.E. We'd love to put one of these in your hands and you can have your delicious cup of morning coffee from your R.I.S.E mug. If you would like to purchase some, we do still have some for sale and we'll make sure that you can get one. We're very excited about lots of things that we have going on for R.I.S.E. Morning Brew is one of them. Today, we will be launching the next edition of our Morning Brew magazine. It will be on our website, on social media, and we'll send out a link in our email. It is full of information about startup stories and tips and tools and strategies to help you grow your business and connect with one another, helping you connect to the entrepreneurial ecosystem with which we all are a part of. We're very excited about that, and we got lots of content from people that come to R.I.S.E. So if you've got great content and you'd like to have it in the magazine, send us an email. We'd love to include you in our next edition. We've got the parameters, how long it should be, any pictures, and where it will be placed, and all of those great things that we can send to you so that there will be an easy way for you to contribute your content for the publication. We're also working on an update for our website. We are busy at work trying to make R.I.S.E an even better opportunity for you in growing and connecting your business with the people in your immediate surroundings. And because we're going virtual, we don't have to be limited to just our local area. We hope that you're sharing this with your friends, with your family, or in other locations in our nation, in our state, in our world that can benefit from the things that we're discussing here today. We are excited to have you here and we would love your support. We are so excited to have our speaker today. Mr. Don Daniels is going to present to you on his startup story and how he came up with the P.I.L.L method. It's a better way to look at your finances and learning about money. He is going to take you on the journey that he went on and how he discovered this phenomenal new way to look at finances. And he wanted to be able to package this up so that he could help other families. He turned it into a business. It's a great idea. It's a phenomenal startup story. And without further ado, I present to you Mr. Don Daniels and the P.I.L.L method.
Good morning, everyone at Rise, and I want to thank you so much, Vicki, for inviting me, Don Daniel, and the P.I.L.L Method back to Rise to speak to everyone again about how the P.I.L.L Method came into being, and maybe a little bit about some of the challenges that we faced along the way. But how we got started is very interesting. I want to put some things on the screen and give you an idea as to what was the sponsoring thought, why did we feel that this was necessary, and why we wanted to start this business. So thanks again for inviting us, and I believe we're going to have a good time. And here's where we're going to start, Vicki, and all of you at R.I.S.E. This is where we're going to start. The P.I.L.L Method International presents a better way to eliminate debt. And one of the questions that is often asked us, what prompted you to look for a better way to eliminate debt? Because there are several ways out there. Some of the most famous are the debt snowball, and the avalanche methods. Both of those methods have worked for years, but here's what we're talking about today. That those methods are inefficient. They may be effective, but they're inefficient in terms of not managing the interest cost. A person who uses the P.I.L.L method versus those other two methods will spend approximately $50,000 to $70,000 more in interest than they need to pay, and they won't even realize it because there's no way to really track interest costs. Let me get into this a little bit. The reason why is that the interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate that you will end up paying. This is very important to understand. So let's give you an example. At 3%, if you were to borrow $300,000 at 3% for 30 years, you would pay back $155,331.60 in interest. That's not 3%, folks. That's 51.777%. Here is what happens at 4%. Here's what happens at 5%. And here is what happens at 6%. When I start looking at these loans and started discovering this, it jumped out at me like a big red flag. Now, because I have Asperger's, and when I look at an amortization schedule, I see patterns in there that don't make sense. Why are we doing it this way when we don't have to? So it was our goal here at the P.I.L.L Method to make sure that the truth gets out so people can know how loans actually work. And Vicki, forgive me for getting animated here, but my goodness, people need to know. That's why we started the business. No, they don't need to know. They deserve to know how loans actually work. And one of the things that we do here at the P.I.L.L Method is make sure people can read an amortization schedule. So let me go to this next slide. This is the reason why I wrote the book. And I've heard you talk about the book on your previous broadcast, and I appreciate that. But people could go to Amazon and get the book, or better yet, why don't you just go to the P.I.L.L Method website, and you can then download a free chapter of the book and just get started there. All right, so let's move on. So here's what we're talking about. This is an amortization schedule. And by learning to read an amortization schedule, you will find out that the way that we are taught to pay back a loan and all of the interest we are required to pay, we don't have to pay that. It is not necessary to pay that. It is possible to cut your interest costs on any loan by 50 to 75%, just using math. You don't need more money. You just need to know how to pay less interest. So this is what we go over with our clients. This is what's so important. This is what gets us so excited when the light bulb comes on and people actually get to see what's happening here. So we're going to move on to the next slide. What we're talking about, Vicki, is interest consumption. How much interest are people paying throughout the month? No one knows. We don't really know. And this is why it's a problem. And this is why we want to make sure people focus on not just the interest rate, not just the amount of money that they borrowed, but what we want people to focus on is their interest consumption. Our program keeps track of how much interest we're consuming each month and shows you how you do not have to pay all of that interest. Not necessary. So what you'll learn, and so why did we focus on this? It says, one of your questions here is, why were you searching for a better way? Because what you're going to learn at the P.I.L.L method, you won't get from your accountant. You won't get from a financial planner. You won't get from a banker. You won't get this information from your financial gurus. You're only going to get it here, all right, with the P.I.L.L method. So I talked to an accountant yesterday, and for about 90 minutes. And this is what he wrote back to us yesterday. He says he enjoyed the session. He learned several things during the session, and he's anxious to review the video that we recorded for him. He wants to take notes and watch it several times. So here's what we're talking about. Even a trained CPA does not know how a loan works because it's not taught in their classes. Can you imagine that? A loan officer does not need to know how a loan works to get their license. And believe it or not, people who work in a bank aren't trained as to how loans work. People who own the bank know, but not the employees that work in it. And that's not saying that people don't pay attention. That's not saying that this is a disparaging remark, because I love the bank. I have 4 mortgages, and I couldn't do what I do unless I had those mortgages. But what we want to do is make sure people are educated about how they work, and the education does not exist. That's why we exist. That's why I get so excited. And anybody who wants to know can learn. So this is why we exist. Let's go here. This is our opportunity cost calculator. This is the software. This is what does all the calculations. And I'm talking about, it takes millions upon millions of calculations to come up with a roadmap to pay off several $1,000s worth of loans, a mortgage, student loans, their credit cards, all right, pay it all off. And what we have here is showing that this particular family can save $179,000 in interest they don't have to pay, and therefore pay off all of their loans, not in 30 years, but in 7.8 years using their current budget, and they don't have to sacrifice lifestyle. What challenges did we face? Why was it so hard? Because of what I'm getting ready to show you here. This is an actual client example, Vicki, and the rest of you. Listen to this. This particular person, how much principal and interest did you pay on this mortgage in 120 months? All right. This is before they refinanced this loan. This was before they met us. In 120 months, they paid this loan down by $43,000, $43,180.14, and paid in interest during that same time $231,191.46 because the interest rate was 7.5%. 7.5% is what they were quoted, but what they ended up paying was 151% of what they paid back. This is what the bank wants. This is how loans are constructed, so that this particular loan, if kept till its maturity, this particular person would pay back 151% of what they borrowed. That's not 7.5% at all. So we actually show our clients how the bank actually does this, how amortization actually turns a 7.5% loan into 151%. So the next line, after the refinance, they got a new lower interest rate and got a new loan. And in the first 3 months, paid $1,204.24 towards principal, but it still cost $2,760.92 in interest. In 5 years from the point of refinance, this is what this person would have paid. They would have paid $26,518.47 to pay down their loan, and it would cost them $52,784.73. So at the time this person called us, they were on track to pay another $200,000 in interest just to get out of debt. With the P.I.L.L method, here's what we're looking at. This person owed at this time $316,484.26. They would have paid $200,793.30 to get out of debt in 29.8 years. With the P.I.L.L method and what we're teaching our clients, and with our coaching and our technology, this person is only going to pay $38,288.77 to pay off the $316,000 that they owe, and they're going to do it in 5.2 years using the same budget and without sacrificing lifestyle. So what is our challenge, Vicki? What is our challenge, R.I.S.E? Our challenge is, it's more believable for people to believe this side, the left side, than it is the right side. And here's what I'm trying to tell all of you here. Whatever your idea, whatever new thing you come up with, if you believe in it, if you know it works, then especially if your business, your industry, your service, your idea is disruptive, but you believe in it and you know that it works, it's going to fly in the face of what people are already doing. And it's going to be very hard for you to get your idea out. You've got to keep trying. You've got to keep trying. You've got to keep trying until people finally listen and give you an opportunity. So our basic problem or challenge is not getting people to believe the information. Our basic challenge in the beginning was to get people just to listen, to give it a chance. And folks, during that phase of any business, you must not give up. You've got to continue on until you get that first person to listen, and the second person, and the third person. It starts somewhere. I mean, even Marconi, who invented the radio, says, listen, folks, I can send messages on invisible waves miles away from here, and I can talk into this box. And miles away from here, a voice is going to be carried on invisible waves and come out on another box miles away from here. Do you know they wanted to lock him up? No one believed him. Ulcers. Most people think stress causes ulcers. There's two doctors in the outback in Australia in the early 70s discovered that ulcers were a bacteria that lived in your stomach. No doctor, no scientist, no one believed them because it was the general thought that bacteria cannot live in stomach acid when this particular bacteria thrived in stomach acid. And they started this idea in the 70s. It was in 2005 that these gentlemen finally won a Nobel Prize for their work in helping the world to know that ulcers are caused by a bacteria. Look it up. Vicki, you want to know why we do what we do? This is why. Because one day, this idea of interest cancellation will be worldwide. And so, how did I know it was going to be scalable? I didn't. When we started this business, I was a firefighter for 17 years. And when I started looking at and studying amortization and how loans work, because I was just, too broke to pay attention because of trying to pay these loans back, and then looking at it, and then discovered there was a better way. And after a year of looking at this thing and discovering that we could do it a better way, talked to my wife, took some convincing. But I left that job of 17 years as a firefighter. You have to put in 25 years to get a pension. So I left 8 years early to start this business so that I can put out a different kind of fire because I believed in this mission. And I did that in 2007. And now, Vicki, we are in 9 countries. Who do we share this information with? Just individuals? What about business owners? What about real estate agents? So it would just stands to reason that when I want to share this with real estate agents, that they would say, listen, if our clients can pay off their debt in 7 to 9 years instead of 30 years, this would certainly be valuable to our clients. But do you know, by knocking on doors, it was very, very difficult to get the information out to people, to certain industries, because this just wasn't part of the norm. And Vicki, there are a lot of people that venture out into entrepreneurship with a new idea. Believe that? What about Airbnb? Can you imagine somebody inviting strangers into your home, renting a room from you, and then people will actually pay you? Come on! Or what about ride sharing? Uber or Lyft. You can actually have an app where you can order a car. There's a few minutes away. Nobody believed this stuff, but somebody did. And they persisted. And that's why we're doing what we're doing here at the P.I.L.L method, Vicki. All right, here we go. This is what P.I.L.L stands for: prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. And then once people read the book or give us a call, we can answer some of these questions. But here is the thing. You see this formula? This is what amortizes a loan and makes them so expensive. Why are we focused? Why are we excited? Why do we want to tell people how all of this works? And once you know the rules, you can cut your interest costs by 75%, pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years without sacrificing lifestyle. This is more powerful than the debt snowball and the avalanche methods combined. This program is the most powerful debt reduction, money management, wealth building system on the planet. And once people know that the interest they don't have to pay can now be invested in themselves, average families can now become millionaires by earning interest instead of just paying it. Vicki, this is why we're excited. This is why we do what we do. And this is why we continue on working as hard as we are so people can know what we're talking about here today is that there are people out there that have ideas. There are people out there that have their own unique situation that they want to attack. They want to do better. They want the world to be better than it is because they have an idea, they have a product, they have a service that is that can change the world, but because it's disruptive ideas or disruptive technology, they get them out of nose in the beginning. And what I'm trying to tell you is, if it is to be, it will be. Just don't give up. You can't. Whatever it is, I guarantee you I probably need it because, listen, James Dyson did not invent the vacuum cleaner. He reinvented it. And now there are no vacuums on the planet that use bags. So everybody, it is fantastic what you can do when you push through people telling you no, that they don't believe you, that if it was a good idea, it would have people would have done it already. Not necessarily. No way. This is where good ideas come from. And Vicki, this is what I wanted to share with folks today. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting the P.I.L.L method. And I'm going to put one last slide up on the screen so that anybody who wants to get in touch with me can. Okay, Vicki, thank you again for inviting me to speak to the R.I.S.E audience. We're very appreciative. And this is our contact information. Go to the website. You can download a free chapter of my new book, The P.I.L.L Method, A Better Way to Eliminate Debt. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to come into your homes virtually. And I encourage each and every one of you to stay safe.